welcome to Two Bitches in a Broom podcast for episode, I'm not sure at this point. Thank you everyone for joining us for this week's topic, which we are going to get into the role of service in spiritual practice and how that plays out for everyone, which I feel like this is a really good topic as more and more individuals emerge in the realm of spiritual practice and
Sure.
metaphysical practice. And I feel like this is also going to touch on not only those that are actual practitioners, like, out in having clients and things, but also just in your own foundational practice, in your own role with spirit and how you serve. Because, I think a lot of people forget that when you are aligning and you are developing and you're doing all of the things, you also are playing the part, you are playing your role in service. And even if it's just for your family, your friends, coworkers, whoever you happen to cross paths with, you're still serving.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
What's your take on the highlight of this topic, the role of service in spiritual practice?
I think at its core, being of service is a really powerful expression of the love that you have, the compassion and empathy that you have towards others. I think it really transcends individual interests. I think it will nurture our idea or our perception of interconnectedness, our unity with the world around us. I feel like when we engage in acts of service, that we're not only supporting the people that are in need, but it actually uplifts our own spirit. And I'm just going to speak for myself, okay? It cultivates such a deep sense of purpose and fulfillment more than anything. I think it's a sacred duty. It's a pathway to your spiritual growth by serving others. When we start to embody values that are like of kindness and generosity, and as a shaman, we really do model selflessness, that are at the core of our most sacred spiritual teachings. And through that service, we move beyond our ego and connect with that divine spark, that resides in us. And it's through those acts of service that we can really truly manifest our spiritual beliefs and bring our own personal light. If we're all little tiny candles, right? We're bringing those candles together to heal the world. Yeah, that's how I see it.
I agree. I do feel like there's also a like with purpose, right? I see it quite a bit where people are seeking deep purpose and this big grand scheme of purpose, and piggybacking off of what you're just saying too, is our purpose is to be that anchoring rod of service, right? And of divine light, of God's light, and really having, and that's where we find such like we talk about collective oneness and oneness with all, that's where you find that. And I feel like far too often people are just really searching for this like grand big picture of purpose and
Mhm.
service, right? It has to be this like grandiose thing, but it's also in the everyday thing that you do. It's in the everyday interaction, not only just with yourself and your God, but also, in how you interact with others. And I always feel like if you are right here, so if you are right here in your space, and you're aligned in your space, it's going to naturally reflect out to all those that are around you, and how you interact and how you receive things.
Yeah.
um I am a huge believer and broken record preacher of your ripple effect. Your ripple effect matters, and how that is, and your vibration in that. Absolutely, being in service of spirit in your practice and your day-to-day life is feeding your soul, feeding source, feeding the collective. And really, I feel like it helps too, just even in the little part about moving into compassion, moving into love, understanding, and even just enjoying the little things of life and the little interactions, all are a part of that whole thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like some people maybe need to hear this message. Acts of service, um and being in service in your spiritual practice absolutely is just your in and outs of every day.
Yeah.
Purpose is not going to always be this big to do.
Right. What
Yeah.
with my students, when we start to cover this particular portion of acts of service, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is to do it without the ego saying, recognize me, you
Mm-hmm.
know? So some really wonderful ways of doing that where there is no recognition whatsoever. And you're doing
Mm-hmm.
it simply because, right? And I don't want to be offensive or anybody take this the wrong way, but we've all seen it on social media, where people will like, oh, I helped this homeless person, and here's the homeless person, and I gave them $500,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
but
Mm-hmm.
that's not really being um selfless in the act, because you're getting recognition for the act.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
if that's what you're out to do, that's cool. That's cool. But what I encourage everybody to do just one time, just do it one time, because it's so wonderful, is to do it without any recognition. No kudos, no thank you, no wow, you made a difference. Um, do it simply because you want to make an impact and a change and make somebody's day a little brighter.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
can do it by leaving. I know this is going to sound really silly, but if you go to the grocery store, they always have those little things that you can put a couple quarters in, and you twist it, and a toy
Oh, the
or
machines.
sticker
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can leave quarters in there. Just fill them all up. All the
Mm-hmm.
machines fill them up. So when a kid comes out that has been dragged through the grocery store with the mother and is
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my God, this is just horrific, it's a treat for that child.
Mm-hmm.
A treat. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful treat, you know? Another way is to go to your local library and find a book, whatever book speaks to you. I typically go to the grief section when I do this,
Mm-hmm.
because people who are grieving, and I will leave a message of encouragement. I will literally just put in there, I know that you will make it through this. I know you will, something short and sweet and to the point, and stick it in there.
Yeah.
So it's a wonderful way. Nobody knows who you are. You're
Yeah.
just making an impact on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
It's so wonderful that you can lay your head down at night and say, I know I improved. Even if it was 1%, I know I
Mm-hmm.
improved somebody's life by 1%,
Oh yeah.
you
I
know?
like the library idea. I'm a huge nerd, so
Yeah,
I could spend
it's,
hours in the library, but I like that. I'm gonna do that myself with the library thing.
yeah,
Because when I talk to clients and students about these like acts of service and things, the one point I bring up too is even just giving somebody a compliment. How often do we walk through wherever we're at and we look at, everybody looks at everybody
yeah,
and everybody thinks things of everybody. And how often do you walk through and you see, oh wow, I really like that outfit, or I like those colors,
yeah,
or I love those shoes, just give
yeah,
a compliment,
yeah,
you know. I
yeah,
love your shoes, I love your outfit, I love how you put that together, or your hair, or whatever the case may be,
right,
you know.
yeah.
um you have no idea how that can impact somebody else and just boost
Oh,
that,
yeah,
you know confidence in that person. And it
yeah,
also helps you too in expressing, again, communication and being open and expressive. So it's dual purpose, it's dual service.
yeah.
Or
If you're
you
standing
know
in the grocery store and you know everybody is like eyeballing that person that's in line, and
mhm,
they're like just shooting daggers at that person that's sitting there,
right,
and they have 556 coupons and
mhm.
a checkbook, and you're like, oh, right? Stop for a second. Just stop for a second, because that person is feeling it. I assure
Oh,
you,
absolutely,
they are feeling
yes.
all of that energy being thrown at them.
Mhm,
Stop for a second and just go, wow, I cannot believe how fantastic you are with money management. That is
mhm,
fantastic. That is
mhm.
great,
Yeah.
because you're setting the example for everybody around you to stop and shift their perspective from, oh
Mhm,
my God, she's wasting my time, to, oh my God, she's so good at money management that
mhm.
she's doing
Yep,
this. And then
exactly.
all of that energy and that entire space is shifting to a positive energy and
Mhm.
an improvement. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, that's a really good one. Even with that, with um people in line like that. And oh yeah, if I'm standing there, I've had that experience where you stand there and the person in front of you is questioning things or having stuff,
sure.
or all whatever the
Yeah,
case may be. And it is like, I think to myself sometimes, man, if I'm feeling this like massively, I can imagine
yeah.
what this person is feeling.
Hmm.
And just shifting that little bubble of energy and that interaction does a huge thing. And even with like parents, like we all seen this, like moms with the kids and then going crazy and doing all the stuff, or crying and throwing a fit, and the mom is already stressed, and then everybody else is looking around like, oh my god, like control your child, or
Yeah,
like stuff. And
for sure.
I'm sure, like, as moms, we all have been there, done that,
Yeah,
those of us that have
yeah.
older kids. And it's a lot of pressure and it's a lot of stress. What's one smile gonna do? One little compliment, one little tidbit to that person, to that
Sure.
mom, that helps, kind of ease that,
Yeah,
and that frequency and that vibration.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I think we were actually at a restaurant, and there was a kid that was like running around, and I mean, like literally running around.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a group of older people who were making comments, and they were not kind. And the mom, who was meeting with her brother because she could overhear the
Mm-hmm.
conversation. And she was like, oh my God, it's been so long. It's so great to see you. And I just felt really bad that this poor woman is being judged when she's seeing her brother for the first time in who knows how long, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And there was like so much judgment. Lord have mercy, so much judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And her child came up to me and I was like, aren't you just the cutest thing? And the mom was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so, so sorry. And I said, no, it's fine. What is he, 2, 3? He's learning how to human. This is all he learned. He's learning how to do it. I said, I think it's
Uh-huh.
fantastic that you give him space to learn how to human.
Mhm.
Everybody shut up. Because it's true. I mean, really, we're putting all of these don't move, don't breathe, don't swim. You know what I mean?
Right,
Don't do
right.
anything. Sit in this space.
Mhm.
You've only had a couple of years to understand humaning. You know?
How many of us have like went it well into our double digits and still trying to figure
For
out a
sure.
human?
For sure. Yeah. I
That
mean,
reminds
really?
that reminds me I think it was last night or the night before, my daughter's friend was talking about they have a new puppy and just the antics of the puppy, and that's actually the same point that my daughter had said, which I think was so fitting, and it applies and absolutely applies to humans as well, because she was like, he's learning how to be a dog, he doesn't know yet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
So
it's
yeah,
figuring it
same
out.
thing,
Yeah, it's the
same
same
thing.
thing. And I don't know. Um, I don't know. I think that there's just a lot of judgment that people are impacted with every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And we can make a change on the simplest things,
Mm-hmm.
just the
Yep.
simplest things. You can smile at someone, and it may be the first smile they've seen all week long,
Mm-hmm.
and it could impact them. It could change them. It can actually shift their energy by just smiling and being sincere with that smile, not like the whole,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
having a sincere, like, hi, how are you? Or gosh, it's good to see you,
Mm-hmm.
with the energy of your smile without saying the words. That can
Yeah.
really impact someone,
Oh,
you
absolutely.
know?
I think
Oh,
even too, like when we're in interacting with people, especially when we're out running errands and doing stuff, and what's the typical like superficial things that everybody says, right? Like, oh, hi, how are you today? Or how's it going? And then afterwards, think about even the times that, because this is what's popping in my head as we're talking, think of even the times when you're checking out at the grocery store and you're leaving, and they say, here's your receipt or your change or whatever, and you say thank you. Are you saying thank you just as an automated response to things?
mhm.
Maybe trying putting some genuine intention behind that,
Yeah,
and leaving it off with, I hope you have a great, have a great rest of your shift or great rest of your night, whatever you
yeah,
want to do.
yeah.
But we're talking, and that's popping in my head too, of how many times do we just do automated superficial things,
Mhm,
but maybe now try put some genuine intention behind it,
mhm.
mean it,
Yeah,
because that energy, even just meaning it, speaks volumes
mhm.
to that person,
It
and just
does.
to that space
It
in
does.
general.
We
Yeah.
were out, and this was at Christmas time. We were at Target, to be honest with you.
Target.
Yeah. And we were there, and it was a very lengthy checkout. Um, very lengthy. Everybody was working, everything was full, but there was a lot of people. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was actually getting cleaning products. That's why I was there.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting cleaning products. But it looked like a lot of people were like actively gift shopping.
Mm-hmm.
And I seen the girl that was there, and she was just haggard, just wore out. And I couldn't imagine standing, which I always thought was weird. Why can't they sit? But anyways,
Yeah, me
stand.
too. Think like a stool or something.
Yeah, like I think that's so weird. But they're standing in one spot.
Mm-hmm.
They're like literally doing this, doing this, doing this, but it's like this one little spot. And I thought, wow, That's got to be tough. That's got to be really tough. And all of the people that she's coming in contact with, and all the energy that's slamming into her, who knows, all day long. So I had said, I so appreciate you coming into work today so I could buy my cleaning products. And she looked at me like she was surprised. And I said, I
Yeah.
really appreciate it. I know this job can't be easy. And she just stopped and she's like, I really appreciate you saying that to me. Thank you. And
Right.
it's little things like that. And you could see her entire energy shift, her entire energy shift.
Acknowledgement goes such a
Yeah,
long way.
it does. It
Such a long
does.
way.
Does. But
Yeah.
if you see somebody, I mean, I'm not expecting you to like every single person you come in contact with.
Right.
If you see somebody and it's like, man, they could use a boost,
Mm-hmm.
do it.
Mm-hmm.
What's stopping you?
Mm-hmm.
What are the chances you're ever going to see that person again?
Exactly.
You're not going to look like a fool. Who
Yeah. You're
cares?
not.
Who cares
Yeah.
what other people think? You have an opportunity to make such a massive change. And
Mm-hmm.
if you're doing it in front of your children, what an awesome opportunity to model the behavior that you want them to have. Like, how
Absolutely.
cool is
Yeah.
it? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lead by example.
Yeah.
I feel like it is such a thing that, you know, I even tell clients and students and try to practice this as much as I can, even with just people too. What is it, especially like in relationships, we talk about this, but this applies to anybody, doing little acts of service just doing little things just because when you're thinking about um like you're going into work and your coworker has just been having a tough week and then you're grabbing coffee, you just grab a small coffee for them. It's little tidbit things like that makes such a huge difference in that. And isn't that too also serving spirit, doing all of these things, compliments, shifting that energy. And these are just like mundane day-to-day tasks, nothing super extraordinary about it.
Right.
And isn't that too also showing up to serve? Isn't that also showing up to serve spirit?
Yeah.
Because it's not always just these big moving things in life. Sure, it's going to be those things too, but even just the little things also help. And I find like, big adding intention behind it, adding that genuine mean it, adds that extra boost of
Sure.
that energy and that ripple effect out. And I find like, I mean, hell, look at the world. We need more of it. We
We do.
need more of it. We need more people to recognize the ripple effect that they have, even just in the small things, even in just interacting. If
I
spirit
agree.
is trying to get the collective to come together, right? Energetic exchange and bonding again and coming together. Remember, we're all human and we're all still trying to figure out how to human, even after however many years we've been here trying to figure out how to human.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's there's no such thing as perfection. We just get pretty good, you
Yeah.
know, all
And
the
I think if
time.
we remember that every single small act of kindness, and it has that power, like you said, to
Mm-hmm.
create that ripple effect of positivity and transformation,
Mm-hmm.
I think it will also help you to become inspired to
Mm-hmm.
serve with an open heart because you'll know when you're doing it, you're not only serving others, but you're uplifting your own soul on
Yeah.
your own soul's journey.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that that's how I view it.
Yeah, I agree. I view it the same way too. I mean, everything is an energetic exchange.
It is. Oh my gosh.
Everything
It is
is.
ever. It is.
Everything is. So even things like this is still an energetic exchange that you're receiving. So would you rather emit out a lower frequency, a negative energetic exchange, or would you rather emit out a higher frequency, a more positive, loving, energetic exchange? And I'm like a really big person on like it's always been my shtick, even way back when, of, I mean, aren't we all just, isn't the goal like just not to be a dick in life? To treat others the way you would want to be treated, to have compassion for others the way you would want to have
Yeah.
someone to have compassion for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we forget that sometimes when things are just
I agree.
so chaotic and so up in the air of where we're moving as humans,
Yeah.
we
I
forget
actually
that.
did a lecture on the topic regarding the golden rule, so
Mm-hmm.
do
Mm-hmm.
unto others as you would like
Right.
to yourself. And actually, if you go through every spiritual text, you will find a variation of that all the way up to Egyptian times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So every spiritual and religious um, sect has something that kind of embraces that same train of thought,
Mm-hmm.
the exact same train of thought. So when you're feeling kind of crappy, do you want somebody to make you feel better? Do you wish that your load
Mm-hmm.
was a little bit lighter? Sometimes people just want to be seen, and that's why I said smiling.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they just want to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
That I am here, I am acknowledged, I am present in this big puzzle we call life.
Right, right.
Just smiling can do that.
Absolutely.
Will
I
it
mean,
feel
just think
weird at
about,
first? Sure, but I promise
oh
once
yeah.
you mean it, it's addictive. It's so wonderful to make a difference,
Oh yeah. I mean, think about, even just thinking about going through your own shadow and
Mhm.
just yourself wanting to be acknowledged and seen and heard,
Sure.
so apply that when you're going out and you're interacting with others. Doesn't, whatever you do and wherever you go, you
Yeah.
know um make it a challenge for yourself to step out of your comfort zone, obviously, because I think we're all programmed to we're all trained and societally programmed to function in this one way, and breaking out of that can absolutely, like you said, feel super uncomfortable and
Sure.
super weird,
Yeah.
because you're doing something different.
Yeah.
It's new, so it's going to feel that way in the beginning. But challenge yourself to give one compliment to a stranger a day.
Yeah.
One compliment, you know
It'll be worth it.
see how that goes for you.
It'll be
See how
worth
you feel.
Yeah.
I'd be hard pressed to say that, yeah, you're going to feel uncomfortable and awkward, that's a given, in the beginning, but I'd be hard pressed to say that you wouldn't feel anything other than a little bit lighter in your heart space. Just a
I
little bit
agree.
lighter, more and more and more, because you
Yeah.
uplift them, you uplift you, and that ripple effect just got a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So I think when you start talking about acts of service and spirituality,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people go to like, oh, I provide free readings or I do this and those are acts of service.
Sure.
They are
Yeah.
too. So I don't want you to, you can make this as small or as big as you would.
Mm-hmm.
There is no limitation. You decide that limitation, whatever it would be. I think the most important facet is the kind of internal struggle, the duality with is your ego involved in it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are doing free readings, don't say I'm doing free readings. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right.
Uh,
Yeah.
don't, because then it's kind of taking the shine away from the fact that you are doing a wonderful act of service.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like it doesn't always, and again, like societal programming and everything's on a screen now, everything is broadcasted, just like with every advancement in humanity.
Mhm.
Great intentions, mostly. Mostly great intentions,
Sure.
and can serve really, really well, but there's also that flip side to it, right? The yin and the yang to everything. And when you are a practitioner and you are doing, I agree, I do absolutely believe in pro bono work of some sort, giving back.
Yeah.
Everybody, this is my personal opinion, everybody should have some scope of pro bono work and giving
I agree.
back work that they do on some level,
Yeah, I agree.
something. And but when you are broadcasting that and making it a highlighted point of your persona
Mhm.
or your marketing or whatever you choose to do with it, um I always go to, is that more of an ego thing, or is that more of truly being of service
Right.
and truly doing that, um because if you're going to do it, just do it.
Yeah, I
You don't,
agree.
you just do it. Nope.
Yeah.
Who cares? Look, let me tell you, as long as God knows what I'm doing and how I'm moving and the things, and I'm intentionally moving, being led in that way, what does it matter if anything else comes across? Because again, remember, everything is an energetic exchange at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So if you are doing it and you are truly of genuine space doing it, not needing to broadcast it in any kind of way,
Hmm.
um, for the sake of serving ego, I would say,
Hmm.
because we put things out there sometimes just because we want people to know that we do this.
Yeah.
But when you're making it a big to do, that's a different story.
And
So,
I think there's no better time to start doing this than this year because
oh,
it is
absolutely.
the year of the dragon. It's the karmic cycle year. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, give
Mm-hmm.
selflessly, give frequently, give unabashedly,
Mm-hmm.
and with consistency, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yes. The karmic completion cycle year.
Yeah.
It can be great and it can be not great, but
Yeah.
all the while still great because there's still
Yeah.
opportunity for
And
every aspect of it.
I think that a lot of people this year are experiencing big highs and big lows
Mm-hmm.
because of that too. And
Yeah.
that happens, just reflect,
Mm-hmm.
reflect. Man, I did some wonderful set. Yeah, maybe not so
Right.
great that time.
Well, I feel like too, even when you're reflecting on when you're experiencing the highs or the lows, and this is a good um point also, when we talk about when you need to break out of a funk or break out of a
Sure.
stagnation or something, and it's like move, right, do something
Yeah.
different. um Acts of service, if you don't already practice it, can absolutely be something that you do different.
Hmm.
So if you are in reflection of a low part of whatever your cycle or path is, whatever spirit's trying to show you,
Hmm.
because everything's an opportunity to learn,
Hmm.
uh you know and you are reflecting on that, yeah, maybe try and go out and do some things in that way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do some acts of service just
Yeah.
because,
Just for
if
fun.
you're just for fun, if you're a practitioner, um you know maybe your load on the week, choose a client or two or whatever floats your boat, but do something and have that just because.
Absolutely.
look at your schedule, pick somebody. This is going to be, you're gifting this to that person. That's an act of service.
Yeah.
And if you are in that reflective karmic way, what better way to show up and acknowledge that part and shift that energy? What
Yeah.
better way to do it?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's going to be a very interesting year how this plays out for a lot of individuals.
I know.
In this karmic completion cycle and timelines anchoring in and all of this stuff there's a lot of shit happening this year. It's a lot of energetic stuff happening this year. I'm just gonna say so much. So, if you're listening to this or watching this, and this message, you're feeling it, man, better get out there and go and start doing stuff.
Yeah.
And take this as that message for you. Maybe it's time to reflect back, take a look at, and start incorporating that in your day to day.
Yeah.
With strangers, your family, friends, coworkers, it doesn't matter.
Right. And I think that if it becomes a where you're like, wow, that's a financial burden if I did X, Y, and Z, you can absolutely, like I said, you can go to the library. There are ways that you can do it for absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. You can be a blessing in so many ways. You can take a book that's been on your shelf that you read when you first started going through the spiritual growth process, and you can say, you know what? I am going to donate this. That's what I'm going to do. So somebody else can read it,
Oh, yeah.
You can I'm not sure how it is in everybody where they live. In my area, they have like these little boxes in the neighborhood where they put books, and neighbors just come and put new books.
Oh, yeah.
Like a borrowing.
They have, they have that sporadically throughout different neighborhoods. I think it depends on like the communities and how they participate, if they choose to or not. But that's a great idea of, doing that. And as you're talking about that, I also thought, even going through, because spring's coming up, so we're going to be purging and cleaning and prepping for the real new year. So, when we're doing that, why not I've done this where I'll go through and gift out certain things, especially if like practitioner, or someone who is starting their journey and starting to develop, and you have 50 fucking decks of cards, and you're like, I want to whittle this down. Then look at it and gifting that out, donating that to somebody to help you along your journey. That's an act of service. It doesn't have to be, or I mean, like one good example too is, I do this sometimes also, is, social media. You'll go on your story and who wants a card? I'm going to put 30 minutes, it costs you nothing. To just do 30 minutes, take that time out, or just throw that out there. Anybody want a card? And then just give that.
Absolutely.
And it costs you a thing. So little things like that all make a huge impact. And you never know when you put yourself up in that position, you show up to serve in that way, that God's not going to bring somebody across your path that really needs that message. That you are there to show up and say, I can do that. You never know,
I agree.
So there's so many things.
It's a fabulous opportunity. And even for people like that are, dare I say, still in the closet, right? You can still find a way, like I said, get that book out, write a message on the front page of the book, and on the page when they first open it, and right in there, like, this was the first book I purchased. It has served me so well, and I hope it serves you.
Absolutely.
Give something that can benefit somebody else, whether it's time, energy, just you being you.
Mm-hmm.
Find a way. It doesn't have to be monetary, but if you're choosing that, that's cool too.
Oh
So
yeah.
I have like 5 million different crystals. I love stones. And I do. I'll go through it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll say, okay, this has served me really well, and it's time to pass the blessing to
Mm-hmm.
whomever, you know.
Mm-hmm.
There's ways that you can do it. There's
Oh,
apps
absolutely.
you can
Oh
do.
yeah.
And
And I
if you
feel
want to
like,
be anonymous, you can do that.
yeah. Oh
Our
yeah.
metaphysical stores here, there is one, I love this. And they always keep a little basket by the front of their
Mm-hmm.
space. And um anything metaphysical that you no longer want, that it has served you and you
Mm-hmm.
want to get rid of it, they actually collect it, they clean it, they clear it,
Mm-hmm.
and they will actually gift it to different people that come into the shop that otherwise wouldn't be able to afford it. And I think
Oh,
that's kind of
nice.
a really cool
See,
thing.
that's a cool thing to
Yeah.
do. And it helps, like, because again, this being on your journey, especially like starting out, it's not always like the easiest thing to do. And especially if you're still, in totally in the closet or somewhat in the closet,
Yeah.
you really don't want to be as open, you're more private about it. You're not really comfortable doing that stuff. And I even find like when we were talking about just going through your stuff and spring cleaning your own things, and I feel like when you have that, and this could just be my personal opinion about it, but when you have that intention, like that heart-centered intention as part of your practice,
Mhm.
you'll notice, and at least it happens for me, I don't know about you, but you'll notice like when you're looking at, I've had it where I would be just staring at this deck. Every time I look at this deck, a person will pop in my head, or I would know that it's going somewhere,
Right.
and then you just trust that when you interact with that person or whatever, if they keep popping in your head, then maybe that's where you turn around and gift it to them because it's served me. Now it's meant for you, like, did you, and I tell people when I do that, if you don't resonate with it, totally cool. You can pass it on to somebody
Yeah.
else. If it could very well be that it's meant to get to somebody that that I don't know. So if you're not resonating with it, pass it on to somebody else.
It was a
So,
very long time ago, but I remember um, a girl that had come to me and she wanted a reading and she was very interested in metaphysics. And I have a very specific deck that I always use for my clients. And
mhm.
I was really drawn to use this other deck to read for her, which I found interesting. And the deck was pretty much just telling me she's meant to be a reader. She's going to be a reader. She's going to be a
Mhm.
reader. They said it like 15 different ways.
Right, right.
And she said that she's always been interested and blah, 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 blah. And I remember taking the deck and I was looking for a bag that I could put it in
Mhm.
um, because I wanted it to be gifted to her.
Mhm.
And I said, this is yours. This was meant for you. And that girl, who's now a woman, God, I'm really old. Um, she still uses that deck to do her
Mhm.
readings. So you can really make an impact in such a small way for people.
Right.
Little encouragement, a little love. Holy crap, it can really change the entire trajectory of their day, of that
Mhm.
moment in that space in their life, and sometimes for a very long time, you know?
Mhm. Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. It's I even had a few conversations with some people about even just opening up and connecting too. And that can also look like sharing your story. I feel like sometimes I've been noticing this, and people are really drawn to sharing personal parts of their whatever they're going through, their story. And one point that I kept hearing from my guides is, there's somebody that needs to hear that story because they need to know they're not alone. And I'm like, that too is part of acts of service. And when we share our story, and experience. So, and I was telling one point to one of my clients is, how many times have you gone on social media or somewhere and listened to somebody else with their story? And it could just even be a piece of it. I'm not saying like go out and be an open, full, complete book, and dump everything, but just that one little tidbit that you're feeling so drawn to share, and you listen to somebody else and you hear that, whatever that is, whatever it pertains to, and you feel better, you feel lighter, you feel, oh my God, this has been really a hard time and I needed to hear that, just that. And then again, that's encouragement for somebody else, because gosh, how many people in this world are going through so many things,
And I think that ties back to what you were talking about when you were talking about shadow work, right? Like, just stop. How many times do you wish that somebody would have just acknowledged your existence, at some point, by leaving all of those little quarters and that little machine. Oh my gosh, your younger self would literally be jumping for joy, right? Your childhood self that maybe was denied that, maybe didn't have the opportunity for that. Oh my gosh. Feed that inner child, feed yourself by helping others. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, that's a
absolutely.
beautiful, beautiful concept.
Absolutely. I feel like when we show up, when we have that genuine intention to show up for our day and lead by that, to show up in service of spirit, however that's going to look like, and trust that it's going to play out the way it plays out. And it's all part, again, if we're talking too about like the karmic cycles, it's all part of, because people tend to always just think negative when you hear karma, but it's also good things. It's also the positive aspect of it too. So just by doing that, every day you get up, you have that intention to show up in service of spirit, and you let that lead your way, however it's going to play out. That's also your karma that you're emitting out. And again, do you want it to be negative or do you want it to be positive?
Sure. Yeah.
Either way, it's an opportunity. So either way, bad or good, it's indifferent. It's an opportunity, it's a choice and an opportunity. That's all it is. And when you trust that, it's going to full circle at some point. Everything, again, energetic exchange, it's going to full circle at some point. I had I remember I did that first vendor event, and I'm getting out in the public kind of thing, because I don't like the spot. I don't like the spotlight. As I'm saying this on this video thing, I don't like the spotlight. So I'm getting out of my comfort zone, and it really was like that vendor event. I knew why I was asked to go, but I couldn't just understand why it fit, right? Because what I do doesn't fit that event.
Sure.
But I'm like, okay, I'm getting out of my comfort zone.
I'm doing it.
There. I'm doing it.
I'm showing up.
I'm showing up.
Yeah.
And I went there, and it was I think by halfway through, I understood why I was there. I had particular individuals come up, and and one of them ended up pulling aside and talking about things with that person. Didn't buy a thing, because I had a booth and everything, didn't buy a thing. And I wasn't even concerned about that. But by those three people afterwards, I was like, yeah, oh, you brought me here. You're why I'm here.
Mhm.
And that's cool. I give and whatever came and did all the stuff or whatever. And at the end of the day, was I concerned, oh, they didn't buy anything, or they didn't pay for my guidance or pay for me to hold space? I don't fucking care about that. I showed up. This
Mhm.
is why I'm here. God brought me to this point, to this place to do this. I didn't understand it at first. So, whatever, it's going to make sense at some point.
Mhm.
And as those individuals came through the course of the day, it became clear to me, oh, yes, you're why.
Yeah.
This. So again, when you show up with that intention to lead that way, and you let it just flow, again, trusting it's going to flow out, and you're showing up in service. If you're showing up to do your part, don't you think spirit's going to show up to do their part?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
and that's something I think a lot of people maybe don't
Mm-hmm.
quite understand, that energy is in flow, right? It's always in flow.
Always. Mm-hmm.
So if you want, let's say you're manifesting, okay, because most people are pretty
Oh yeah.
consistently, you're
Mm-hmm.
manifesting something, right? So if you want to keep that energy in flow, and let's just use abundance as a very
Mm-hmm.
big umbrella. Okay. I'm manifesting abundance. What are you gifting abundantly that you can receive abundantly?
Mm-hmm.
You have to be a match with the energy that you wish to attract, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are you living abundantly? Are you giving abundantly? Are you the
Mm-hmm.
essence of abundance? You
Yep.
know?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And it is, as soon as that happened, with that, I understood the assignment. I was like, okay.
I
And
understood
but
the
it
assignment.
it really was like, again, like even just as practitioners, when you are, let's say there's a lot, I see that too, a lot of practitioners who are out of the closet are starting to be
Mhm.
more open about
Sure.
it and be more public.
Sure.
So you can throw these things in there as you go through in whatever events you're doing or places you're working at. There's little tidbits of things. Again, if you show up with that intention and you have that genuine, you're coming from that genuine heart space, that is that flow of abundance. You're giving that energy.
Yeah.
It's going to come back to you because,
Yeah.
again, like you said, energy is always in motion, it's always flowing, and everything is an energetic exchange.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yes.
So, something to think about for whoever's listening to this and are starting to, whether you're starting out in getting out there publicly, because I feel like that's a big push for practitioners right now.
Yeah.
Not just myself, everybody
Yeah.
else,
Yeah.
get out there, get
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
That kind of goes to show you like how badly the world needs it,
Oh, for sure.
you know?
Sure. You know?
So,
Yeah. But I
yeah.
think this was a super good topic. I love it.
Oh yeah, I think it was cool. Um yeah, I think everyone should go out and, you know, live, laugh, love, and all the above. So,
Yeah.
but thank you everyone for joining us. If you have resonated with this, or someone else who would appreciate the information, we really appreciate the energetic exchange of sharing, liking, commenting, and rating. Whether you are listening to us on podcasts on Spotify or on YouTube, either way it goes, we appreciate it all. I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of their week, day, month, year, and all of the above. So thank you.
Yeah. Until next time.
All
Bye-bye.
right. Bye.